What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray-J back with another video. And this one, I want to talk about what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, and the QQQ, and then break down why tomorrow is going to be a very important day as we have important data, and talk about what the news is saying about Tesla as we have some very important headlines. But before I bring things about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moon link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. The offer ends in just 5 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. So I just wanted to mention that tomorrow is going to be a very important day because 1 hour before the market opens, we have the PPI data coming out. This could cause a very, very big move. Now, PPI is a leading indicator for CPI, and it tends to be very important for the Fed. This is the wholesale inflationary report that's coming out. It's going to be like CPI except for wholesalers instead of consumers, and that's going to be very, very important. Anyways, we're going to be looking at core PPI year over year to be 2.2 to 2.3%. If it's in that range, that's going to be decent for the markets. If it's hotter than that, it's going to be bearish. PPI year over year should be 1.6 to 1.7%. If it's harder than that, that's going to be bearish, so watch that very carefully. Then we have some Fed speakers, and after that, we have the Fomc minutes at about 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, so watch that very carefully. Now, to add on to all of this, I just wanted to mention that we have some big things coming out for Tesla. For now, the charts are looking a bit more bearish going into tomorrow. Now, Tesla has a bearish divergence on the 4-hour time frame right about here. So Tesla made a higher high, but the charts are making lower highs on the RSI and the MACD, which tells me that this could start to cool off and end up approaching the mid 250s. Now, is that a promise? I can't really promise anything about that just yet, as it depends on the data. But this chart suggests that Tesla either goes a little higher and then we kind of establish or maintain this bearish divergence, and then we sell off. So we pop and then drop, or we just drop from here and start to see Tesla sell off. So either way, there's likely a sell off coming. And then what else is interesting is when you look at the charts, Tesla ended up hitting this very important resistance zone right here at this 268 level, which is where we ended up rejecting from. So it's very significant that Tesla happened to reject off that, and there's a risk to the downside now with the bearish divergence. But what else is interesting about this is it's not just Tesla. As you know, Tesla and the market tend to move in unison as they have similar algorithms. We have a bearish divergence on Apple. This could lead to downside, so be very careful about this. If we break 177.5, downside's a possibility. For SPY, it's the same thing basically. We also happen to have a bearish divergence. If it breaks below, I would say 434, but technically 433 just to be safe. There could be a risk to the downside towards the lower 430s, if not 429, if we get a break below this rising wedge. So that's the second red flag. The third one is going to be this one. QQQ also happens to have a rising wedge. If it breaks below 368, we could be watching it come down to 366 or below that very, very soon. That's for the QQQ. And then last but not least, that's we have Nvidia right over here. If Nvidia ends up continuing to break down, we're going to be watching support at 455. We have a possible rising wedge on Nvidia as well. If this breaks down, we could be watching 451 as well. So watch that very carefully. The charts are looking like they could see downside, but it depends on PPI and etc. We will see how that affects us. As far as Tesla goes, I want to talk about this now. Looking at inventories, the Model S and the Model X inventories are starting to go up. Demand could be slowing a little bit more, which is why they announced some price cuts just a couple of days ago, but it's still not really stopping inventories from going up a little bit. Overall, they're not that bad. They're not at crazy high levels. So we will see if this maintains or not, or what Tesla does about this. Now, to add on to this, there's this news right here that Tesla has basically dismissed the safety concerns and unionization reports from the Giga Berlin. That's very important because they have 11,000 people employed over there, and they're planning on potentially hiring even more people as time goes on. But we ended up seeing, I think, a very, very large amount of their employees joining a union. They basically did this over health and safety concerns, as there were some reports claiming that there were some injuries. I don't know for sure about that. I have to double check that, and we have to verify it, but I don't think it's verified just yet, or at least the exact details. So we'll see how it goes. One thing worth mentioning is that Tesla's a very, very demanding job, so I could totally see why people are concerned about it. Maybe they have important concerns and things like that. So I'm not going to dismiss it in its entirety. People's rights and their decisions to join unions and go on strike even. So If that's the case and something like that happens, it could affect Tesla negatively, but for now, that's not really the case, and we're just going to be patient nonetheless. There's also this news that came out yesterday that Tesla's EV sales have dropped 11%. That's why Tesla dropped a bit yesterday before getting a bounce. But Tesla ended up bouncing as time went on. Now, with their sales dropping in China, this does make me a bit concerned for the fourth quarter. But we'll see what happens as time goes on because you can't really just look at data from this period and make a big judgment for the entire quarter. So October's tend to be a little weaker. November and December tend to be a lot stronger. So we'll see if we get a very, very strong November/December to offset this. To add on to this, the news is saying that the base models by Tesla are now cheaper than the average new US car. But just trying to take a price of a new US car is not really that accurate or that effective. But it doesn't really like change the point that Teslas are becoming more affordable thanks to all these price cuts and other factors, from the tax write-offs to rebates. So it is benefiting a lot of consumers to some extent. It's benefiting Tesla to get more sales. The only concern I have is for their margins. We'll have to see what happens during the next earnings report. That's going to be very important. Now, Jeffries is also worried that Tesla may be losing its lead in the EV tech. So it's trying to cut its price target. That is very important. But the thing about it is, I'm not really too worried like so much about it because this has been happening. We will see if there are any other changes from the other analysts out there too. As far as Tesla is going, we have the first 2024 Tesla Cybertruck that was auctioned for about $400,000, according to reports. I mean, if that's the case, pretty cool stuff. This was at the Peterson Auto Museum's gala event. That's the case. It's great to see lots of demand for them. You guys can see how badly people want to get their hands on these. I saw one on the road not too long ago. I will just say that these trucks are just incredible. They look very, very futuristic. I mean, they remind me of Back to the Future, if anything, and they have very, very good specs, in my opinion. They're very powerful. There are more details to be coming out about their specs, but I just wanted to say, it looks very, very cool. I think a lot of buyers are stepping in. And this is going to help Tesla big time, especially for their share price for the long term. So I'm still very bullish for this reason. I think that the demand for the Cybertruck is going to be very big for the end of this year going into the start of 2024. Now, could there be external concerns because Tesla has earnings in a little bit over a week from now? The answer is yes. It depends on their guidance and macroeconomic effects. But for now, as far as the Cybertruck goes, with that coming out, I still could see lots of demand going up for Tesla, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. I'm very, very excited for what's about to come for the company, and I'm still a big bull for the long term nonetheless. All right, guys, so I thank every single one of you so much for listening. If you guys listened this far into the video, please have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. I will most definitely see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and peace out.